Biden in his State of the Union. So, this is one of those rare times where Biden comes out of his hole that he goes into when he's not giving speeches, and shows up ready to rumble. Right? Biden does this occasionally. I'm not entirely sure what drugs they give him when he wakes up feeling dangerous. But when he gave the State of the Union this time, he woke up feeling dangerous. He knew what he was doing when he walked out there. Right? And I'm no Biden fan, but I like it when old man Biden shows up. When old man Biden shows up, it's about to be funny cuz he just unloads on people in a way that's just you just don't expect it. He's such a soft-spoken, slow, sometimes has a hard time getting his sentences out. Like he just seems like this sort of gentle, hard to fluster kind of old man, and then you say the wrong thing and Biden just goes off. And I find it very entertaining when he does this. And his State of the Union speech was full of a lot of that, right? But a couple of things in particular uh, caught me caught me off guard by it. It was kind of middle of the road speech, as far as its content goes. But old man Biden showed up for a couple of things. The first one is the very first line out of his mouth. Once he got done doing his thank yous, was he turns around and he goes, "Kevin McCarthy, uh, I don't want to, or Speaker McCarthy, I don't want to ruin your reputation, but I look forward to working with you," which is just a great line because, that's one of the things that the Republicans say all the time is like, the leftists, the communists, the commies, the socialists on the left are trying to ram through all this legislation. They don't want to listen to Republican voices at all. And here's Biden in the State of Union address being like, I know it hurts your reputation to sit down and talk to us, but hey, let's sit down and talk. Come on, man, I'm open. And I think it's just a good jab to open your speech with. It sets the tone, the adversarial tone that he was hoping to elicit, or I think he was hoping to elicit from the Republicans, and he got it. And so we're gonna watch a video real quick of just such a thing. I know this video comes from Sam Cedar, but he had the clip I was hunting for in his video, and all the other clips of the Republicans heckling Joe Biden were missing the bit that I wanted. So thank you, Sam Cedar. I promise I'm not making any money off of this, so don't have to hit me with a copyright or anything like that. But let's watch the part that I wanted to see.
Some Republicans want Medicare and Social Security to sunset. I'm not saying it's a majority. Let me give you, anybody who doubts it, contact my office. I'll give you a copy. I'll give you a copy of the proposal. That means Congress doesn't vote.
Now that's a good line right there, right? He said that some Republicans want Social Security and Medicare to sunset, and then the whole room explodes, right? The whole room explodes. You see Kevin McCarthy in the background going, "No, no." And the reason they're freaking out is because Rick Scott, Republican senator, right, introduced a plan. Now it's not going to pass, but he introduced it that says that all government programs, all of them, every government program, would have to be voted on at a certain period, right? I think it's up for debate, obviously, what the period would be, but you would have to vote on it every so many years, and every government program would need to be reintroduced and re-voted on every single time, or it just goes away, right? So you could have one Congress decide not to vote for Social Security, and then the whole program disappears. All of it is gone, right? So that's what Biden's talking about here. This is a real plan that Rick Scott put forward, and the Republicans hate it. They hate it because they don't want you to have Social Security, but they can't say that, right? And Rick Scott's dumbass, pardon me, Rick Scott's dumbass just introduces a plan to the floor that says, says straight up, we're going to sunset all these programs unless they get voted on. And that's what Biden's talking about here. He's digging at him, right? But he set this up pretty well for something else we're going to catch here.
Well, I'm glad to see you. No, I tell you,
Also, MTG's a tool. That lady, man, it's like, even if you agree with her politics, she's such a tool, man. Like such a tool, a tool in a way that Trump wasn't, right? Like Trump's a tool, but he's got a sort of like swagger to the way that Trump does stuff. You can never really tell what he actually believes in. He just kind of vaguely speaks to like what people want, but he does it in a way that's kind of like entertaining to a lot of people. Now, I saw right through it from the get-go, but there's a lot of people that, you know, sort of fell for that sort of bravado that Trump has, right? And MTG is trying to copy that in a way, but she doesn't have the sense to say the things that Trump would say to sort of placate people. And she's also like incredibly obnoxious, just like in a totally unhelpful kind of way. So it's just surprising to me that this lady got reelected once it became clear who she was. Now, I'm not familiar with what her district looks like as far as like demographics goes, but it's just, I find it odd that she would get reelected with that kind of, that really weird energy that she's got. It's so aggressive in a dumb kind of way that I just don't understand it. But regardless, MTG is a tool.
I enjoy conversion. You know, it means if Congress doesn't...
Pretty sure he meant conversation there, but whatever.
Keep the programs the way they are, they'd go away. Other Republicans say, I'm not saying it's a majority of you. I don't even think it's even a significant... But it's being proposed by individuals. I'm not politely not naming them, but it's being proposed by some of you. Look, folks, the idea is that we're not going to be moved into being threatened to default on the debt if we don't respond. Folks,
so that's good there too, because he's laying out to their face, straight to the face of all the Republicans, that like, look, you got to pass the debt limit. You have to raise the debt limit without adding all this extra crap on the end of it, right? And it's unclear who's gonna win this game of chicken that Biden is currently playing with the House Republicans. But you know, the debt limit is not a joke, and the Republicans are acting like it's like a political football to be thrown around. And I don't know who's gonna come out on top of that one, but Biden's at least laying it out in a State of the Union speech that like you could raise a debt limit without doing all this other crap. And you want to do all this other crap, right? So, anyway.
so folks, as we all apparently agree, Social Security and Medicare is off the books now, right? They're not to be stopped. All right.
Okay, so that's the part where he got him, right? That's where he got him. He gets them to scream and moan and whine about how he's claiming they want to sunset Social Security, and then says, "All right, so let's not touch Social Security and Medicare and all these government programs." And he gets all the Democrats and like half the Republicans to stand up and clap to that, right? So now all the people who do want to cut it are just boned, right? From an optics perspective, provided the Democrats can capitalize upon this, which is always questionable whether or not they can do that, right? And this sort of set the tone for the rest of Biden's State of the Union speech. You know, he would tout some insourcing of jobs. He would tout the infrastructure package that's gonna fix some, which is legitimately gonna fix some stuff in the country. It's not enough, but it's something, right? And then he just sort of like gives the rest of the speech with the Republicans sort of like on the back foot now. He basically immediately set the Republicans on the back foot and just kept them there the whole time and just talked about what he wanted to do and talked about his accomplishments and what he should do, and like it was pretty slick, that one. The rest of the speech is sort of middle of the road. It's all political theater anyway, but setting the Republicans on the back foot was really impressive, the way that he did it, especially given the fact that he really does have a hard time speaking, right? And if the Democrats can capitalize upon that, he has basically in this one speech prevented the Republicans from being able to use cutting Social Security and Medicare as a reason to not raise the debt limit. It's pretty brilliant, provided he can capitalize on it. Again, provided he can capitalize on it, right? But yeah, so overall, the State of the Union speech had a couple of eventful moments. Old man Biden showed up, and it came out okay, you know. And also, and speaking to the heckling, right? I saw a lot of people that were complaining that the Republicans were heckling Joe Biden, right? I don't care. Me personally, I don't care that they were heckling Joe Biden, because I think that you should be allowed as an elected official to like treat the president, obviously not in like a violent way or even suggesting violence towards the president, but I think you should be able to treat him like an idiot if you think he's an idiot, right? So I don't have a problem with the heckling in principle. My problem is that the people who were doing the heckling, the really loud Republicans, the MTGs of the court, the Matt Gaetz, right? Those kinds of people. They're just children, right? They don't have a position. They're just anti-democrat. They don't have political prescriptions. They just want less equality. They want more privatization. They want rich people to get richer. They want gay people to have a harder time. They want trans people to have a harder time. Like, it's all about making people's lives harder. Like, not everybody's lives, but none of their policy positions are about improving someone's life. It's always about making somebody's life worse. So them heckling Biden for saying we're not going to cut Social Security, or we did an infrastructure deal and we're going to build some stuff, and this and that and the other thing, that are all good things, but obviously not particularly impressive that Biden is doing. For them to heckle it is incredibly, incredibly petulant. You don't have a position to argue with. Biden's done some things as president. The Democrats have done some things with their power, and you haven't done shit. Not a goddamn thing. And you're arguing just from a state of pure political theater and no substance, right? So, like, have a real critique, man. If you're gonna heckle the president at the State of the Union, have a real critique, have a real argument. I'm not saying you have to be right, but like, come up with a real grievance, right? Like, if you think that what's going on at the border right now with Title 42 potentially being rescinded and having El Paso, Texas be very, very overburdened with incoming immigrants at the moment, and that's the hill you want to die on as a Republican, fine. I think your prescription of the problem is wrong. I think we can solve it without turning away immigrants. But at least it's a legitimate problem, man. At least it's an actual problem. And it's annoying when Republicans just won't have an actual critique. They just want to do political theater all the time. And it's also frustrating that it works a lot of the time. So yeah, anyway, the State of the Union speech, sort of middling. Republicans are children. Democrats are, they have an opportunity to capitalize on something, but they're lame, so they probably won't. So yeah, I'll give it the whole thing like a 6.5 out of 10, right? It was more good than it was bad. I'm not overly excited about anything that came out of it. Was kind of fun to watch, though.